Here's the truth almost nobody talks about. Your entire life changes after you hit your first $20,000 saved. Not $100,000, not a million, not financial freedom in 11 steps. No, just $20,000. And I'm gonna explain why this number creates this psychological, financial, and life trajectory shift that most people, quite frankly, never experience. And I'll tell you this right now. The first 20,000 is harder than the next 200,000. And I'll prove it. But first, let me explain why almost nobody reaches it, even though it's absolutely achievable. By the way, stay with me until the end because I'm gonna break down why $20,000 flips a switch in your brain, why your income starts rising after you have savings, and the one mistake that stops people from ever hitting this number. Plus, at the end, I'll give you a simple 3-step framework to reach $20,000, even if you're starting from nothing. All right, let's get into it. Here's the simple truth. Most people don't reach $20,000 saved because they live in reaction mode. Here's what reaction mode looks like. Your car breaks down, you react. Your rent goes up, you react. A friend invites you out to eat, you react. You get a paycheck, you react by immediately spending it. It's like life is a tennis match and you're just trying not to get hit in the face. But here's the thing. Once you have $20,000 saved, your brain stops reacting and starts planning. This is because $20,000 is a point where your savings becomes a shock absorber, a psychological unlock, and a leverage tool. Let me break down what each and every one of them means. You know how cars have suspension so they don't explode every time you hit a pothole. $20,000 is that suspension for your life. Because here's what $20,000 actually covers in most people's lives. A few months of rent, a car repair, a medical bill, a job loss, a last minute flight, or let's just be honest, a month where you're simply tired of cooking and takeout wins. Without savings, these things ruin you. With $20,000, they annoy you, but then you move on. And this matters because once emergencies stop feeling like the end, you become better at making decisions. And better decisions equal faster growth. It sounds simple, but this is the tipping point. Now, let's talk psychology. When you have $0 saved, your brain is in a constant low-grade panic, even if you don't feel it. It's like having 17 tabs open, 5 of them are playing audio, and you don't know which one it is. But when you have 20K saved, you move into abundance logic instead of scarcity logic. Here's what that means. Scarcity logic is, I hope nothing bad happens, or I can't take a risk, I need this job, or I can't say no to this thing that I hate because I need money. Now the contrast is abundance logic, where you can say, I can take a calculated risk, I can look for a better job, or I can walk away from something toxic, or I don't have to panic buy that thing. Your decision-making process starts to upgrade. People think money makes you greedy. No, money makes you calm, and when you're calm, you make smarter moves. Let me say something that might sound dramatic, but it's backed by psychology. You become a different person when you hit $20,000 saved. Not because of the number, but because of what you had to become in order to get there. Because in order to save 20K, you had to control your impulses, learn delayed gratification, understand money systems, cut emotional spending, build consistency, survive a lot of boring routines, and say no to a lot of different things. Ironically, the habits that get you to 20K are the exact habits that get you to 200K, which is why the first 20K is harder than the next 200. Think of it like rolling a snowball. The first roll is the hardest. After that, momentum does most of the work. Here's something absolutely wild. People with savings earn more money. Not because they're smarter, not because they're more talented, but because savings creates optionality. Here's what I mean. When you have $0 saved, you tolerate bad jobs, bad bosses, bad pay, bad hours, and just bad opportunities. This is because you can't afford to leave. But when you have 20K saved, you suddenly have the ability to wait for better offers, negotiate, switch careers, invest in yourself, start something on the side, or just move to a better market. People say it takes money to make money, and they're right, but not in the rich get richer way. It's more like it takes savings to stop being trapped. All right, let's talk about the one mistake that stops people from ever reaching 20,000. They Don't build identity first. Most people try to save money after paying bills, which sounds smart until you realize life will expand to fill every dollar that you let it. Instead, the people who actually reach 20,000 do something different. They create the identity of a person who saves money, and then their behavior follows. Identity comes first, system second, habits third, and then the results last. However, most people chase this in the opposite order. All right, let's get practical. Here's a simple 3-step framework to reach 20,000, even if you're starting from zero. Step 1, lock in a baseline savings rate. Not a perfect one, not a huge one, just a baseline. This could be $50 per week, $100 per paycheck, or 5% of your income. The key is this: your savings rate must be automatic, not emotional. Step 2, raise your income before raising your lifestyle. Most people do the opposite: lifestyle, then income. But the winners do income, then savings, then lifestyle. Your lifestyle should lag your income by at least 1 year. This is how you build momentum. Step 3, avoid leveling up too early. If you want to sabotage your progress, here's how. Upgrade your car, upgrade your apartment or house, upgrade your clothes, and upgrade your nights out. Do that and you're gonna be broke in a month. Instead of doing that, keep your lifestyle boring while your bank account starts to get a lot more interesting. All right, let's land this plane. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Your life doesn't change at 100,000. It doesn't change at 250,000. It doesn't even change at 1 million. Your life changes at $20,000 saved, because $20,000 doesn't buy you a yacht. It buys you breathing room. It buys you choice. It buys you quiet. The kind of quiet where your brain finally stops screaming about bills, debt, and what if something goes wrong. 20,000 is the first line where panic turns into control, where scarcity turns into strategy, where money stops being the villain in your life story, and it starts to become a tool that you actually know how to use. And here's the twist. Most people will go their entire lives and never hit that number. Not because they're lazy, not because they can't, but because no one ever showed them the path. That's why I make videos like this, to hand you the blueprint that nobody else is handing out. So if this hits you, if this opened your eyes, if this made you rethink even one part of your financial life, then do yourself a favor. Hit subscribe so you don't fall back into the average person money glitch. And real quick, drop a comment telling me where you are on your savings journey. $0, $500, $10,000. I'm replying to almost everyone because your story actually matters here. Thanks for watching.